If you've ever spent an evening scrolling through endless speaker bundles, wondering if the next set will finally give you that cinema-like immersion without turning your living room into a bass-shaking disaster, you're not alone. I get the hesitation. Dropping a few $100s on a surround package that either sounds flat or overwhelms the space can feel like a gamble. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Klipsch RP502 SII surrounds paired with the RP504 CII center channel promise a reference-grade home theater experience, but the real question is whether that promise translates into everyday use. I've spent the past few weeks setting up a typical mid-size living room, about 12 feet by 15 feet, with a 65-inch 4K TV and a modest 2.1-channel soundbar already in place. My goal was to see how the Klipsch bundle would integrate, whether it would require a lot of tweaking, and if the sound would actually feel richer than the cheap satellite systems that come with most TV packages. First off, installation is surprisingly straightforward if you already have a receiver that can handle a 5.1 setup. The surrounds are bookshelf style, so they sit nicely on the side walls at ear height, and the center speaker mounts directly beneath the TV. Because the RP502 SII uses Klipsch's silicon composite hybrid Tractrix horn, the mid-range is directed toward the listening spot without needing a massive cabinet. In my tests, that meant the dialogue stayed crisp even when the volume was cranked up for an action sequence, and I didn't notice the hollow effect that sometimes plagues cheaper surround speakers. What really set these speakers apart was how they handled the quiet room versus loud room dynamic. Many buyers worry that a horn-loaded design will be too aggressive in a small room, blasting every bass note. In practice, the RP502 SII's vented tweeter design tempered the high frequencies, delivering a smooth top end that didn't pierce through the dialogue. The bass response, while present thanks to the horn, stayed controlled, no rattling shelves or booming thuds that could disturb a neighbor. If you're someone who watches movies late at night and lives in an apartment, this balance feels like a hidden win. On the flip side, the package does have a few trade-offs that are easy to overlook until you actually plug them in. The horns are optimized for forward-facing placement, so if your side walls are unusually thick or covered in heavy curtains, you may lose a bit of the intended dispersion. I tried positioning the surrounds behind a bookshelf, and the soundstage narrowed noticeably, making it feel more like a two-speaker experience rather than a true surround field. The solution is to keep the speakers at least a foot away from large obstacles, which isn't a problem in most open-plan layouts but can be a constraint in cramped setups. Another practical consideration is the power requirement. These are not plug-and-play passive speakers, they need an AV receiver that can deliver at least 100 watts per channel to fully realize the horn's efficiency. If you're still on a basic stereo receiver, you'll get decent sound, but you won't tap into the full dynamic range the Klipsch brand is known for. In my case, a mid-range 5.1 receiver handled the load comfortably, and the speakers responded instantly to volume changes, which is essential for fast-paced gaming where you need every footstep to be audible. Who should buy this bundle? If you already own a decent AVR and you're looking to upgrade from a 2.0 or 2.1 system to a full surround experience, the RP502 SII and RP504 CII give you that cinematic depth without forcing you into the high-end tower arena. Home theater enthusiasts who value clear dialogue, a tight soundstage, and a little extra punch in action scenes will appreciate the horn-driven clarity. Also, if you enjoy occasional gaming, the precise imaging helps you locate in-game cues that can be missed on a generic 5.1 set. Who should skip it? If you're a first-time buyer with no receiver to spare, or if your room is under 10 feet wide and you can't move furniture to give the surrounds breathing room, you might be better off with a smaller, all-in-one soundbar solution. The price point sits above the entry-level market, and you'll see the value only if you're prepared to pair the speakers with an appropriate amp and give them space to breathe. Likewise, if you prioritize a minimalist aesthetic and don't want any bookshelf units visible, the Klipsch design, while sleek, will still be a visible element in the room. Looking at the numbers, the bundle has earned a 4.8-star rating from 117 reviewers, which aligns with what I experienced. Most of those high scores come from users who mention the clear, detailed dialogue and the immediate punch during explosions, both of which I could verify with my own movie night tests. There were no glaring complaints in the public feedback, which suggests that the few weaknesses I noted, placement sensitivity and the need for a capable receiver, are either well understood by buyers or simply not a deal-breaker for most. The real value of this Klipsch set isn't just the headline specs of a hybrid Tractrix horn and vented tweeter, it's